Good news, Laker fans. AD is back. Brow is back, y'all. So, this is what we are looking at. For me personally, I'm wondering what position we want him to play. No, I'm not. We're going to ask him to play center. And I'm not happy about it. That's a better way to describe the thought. I think his minutes should definitely be restricted. I would imagine they're not going to have him out there running full throttle. Um, and we'll bring him along slowly, hopefully. But then again, I don't know what to expect because this is the Los Angeles Lakers 2021-2022, and we are all over the place all of the time. But at least we know against the Miami Heat, AD's going to be back, potentially. He's a game time decision to be exact, but that means he's playing as far as I'm concerned, unless there's some type of weird setback, as to which we have bigger problems. So yeah, I expect to see him out there to some capacity, and I think that could help us a lot. I haven't broke down this game yet. I'll probably do that at another time since we have a whole day before that. But yeah, this is great news. AD is back, man. AD is back. You know what that means? That means the excuses stop. They can hold on to him until he gets back into rhythm and shape and all that. But after that, there's no more. Then, we're waiting for Kendrick Nunn, right? Kendrick Nunn's supposed to be the savior. And I don't want to hear it no more. We're about to prove who we are, whether we're great or we're not so great. Because AD's back, period. Now, of course, I don't know if you guys have noticed. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like COVID protocol has gone down a lot over the last week or so. I haven't heard of names going in there a lot. Hopefully that can be a trend. I don't know. Maybe that's just my perception. I could be wrong, but I haven't heard about a lot of new names going into COVID protocol as of late. So cross some fingers. Hopefully that can be the case going forward, and we can kind of still not have excuses. Still have our full team out there finally, or at least as close to full as we can be until Kendrick gets back or gets traded. So this is great news. It's something that I'm wondering if we're rushing him back, even though we're at the week 4. When we're talking about AD, you just wonder, is he ready, or are we just asking him to be here because we know we need him down there? But at the end of the day, it's like this. AD is one of the best players in the game when he's right. And when he's right, he can help you defensively. The AD that we saw this season is a guy who's not that. He's slower. He tends to not be able to hit mid-range shots at all. His mechanics have been poor, and he's been a detriment to our rhythm at times. And even though I'd say he's helped us win some games this year, we definitely won some games with him that we wouldn't have won without him. Ultimately, we lost a lot of games that we should have never lost with him present. Like a lot of games we should never lose when AD's on your team. I think a lot of things played into why that is. The rest of the roster wasn't great. We lacked a whole lot of defense. And I think AD's coming back to a better team. I think AD's coming to a team that THT's not in bad rhythm right now. He's coming back to a team where Stanley Johnson's now on the roster, getting some rotation minutes who can help him defensively and stuff like that. And I think those key things are important in AD kind of, working his way back into a better situation than when he went down playing in. So that's good. That's good. Hopefully it can translate to us giving ourselves a chance to win this particular game against the Heat. But even more so, just have a better outlook about how this road trip will go. At the end of the day, we are a 500 ball club, and he is the savior. We could joke about how we, are talking about Kendrick Nunn coming back and saving the show and all that, but the reality is AD is really supposed to come save us. He's the piece that's supposed to make all this come together. He's the guy who we said AD's on the way. When Snoop Dogg said AD's on the way, that's what fired everybody up. He's the guy that knocked down the Denver Nuggets in the bubble, won game 2 at the buzzer against the Miami Heat. This is a guy who's already accomplished some things as a Los Angeles Laker, even though he's having a horrible season right now for his standards. This is a champion, and I expect him to come out there and have have it being some time have passed since he was last on the court. I'd hope that he got himself into a space where he's ready to do the things necessary to make us a better team. I felt like his energy was low a lot of the time. I feel like he's inconsistent with his energy as it pertains to his urgency and his willingness to be dominant. And I think some of that stuff also has to do with some of the offense that we were running out there. And just the ineptitude on the defensive end can kind of make you feel dejected and kind of deterred from giving you your best effort. and so he's going to have to shore that up. Um, and I mean, for me, what I'm hopeful for is that he will respond well to all that's been said over the last several months. I mean, really, before he went down with injury, we were bashing the heck out of the guy for not giving us what we needed from him, for not looking as good as on the center, playing center. Um, and that's something I felt like he wasn't responding to that the way that I wanted to see him respond to that, and that's what really disappointed me as well. It wasn't just what he was when he was messing up on the court initially or not playing his best, but it was after everybody started calling him out, he just continued to play poorly. Maybe that had to do with his conditioning at the time, and his injury was, not yet there, but all in all, he was still dealing with some stuff, so maybe that was it. But I just felt like he needed to get faster, he needed to lose weight, and, he would play better from there. So last I saw him, he actually looked like he had done some of that. He looked like he's moving a little faster, to me in the short little clips that I seen of him shooting around. He looks in better shape to me. And as I always say in this camera in regards to guys who are injured, a lot of times injuries will force you to work out. They will force you to strengthen certain things that maybe you wouldn't. It forces you to be more consistent because you're working your way back from injury. And that can, by default, put guys in better shape than they otherwise would be. I'm hopeful that's exactly what we're about to see, especially since that's what we need of him, is to carry such a heavy load for our roster. So, yeah, that's my biggest hope for AD, that this has been a blessing in disguise and that he's in better shape and in a better, mindset, and most importantly, can have better mechanics shooting the basketball, because that mid-range 19% thing, that ain't gonna cut it, man. That ain't gonna cut it. That's beneath him to shoot that poorly on a basketball floor. So that's what I'm gonna be looking for. Can he hit some mid-range jumpers and put that to bed? That would be the first shot I attempt if I was AD. Just hit you a mid-range jumper to put that nonsense to bed, because that was severe. And you gotta understand, when somebody's shooting 19% from the mid-range, those are possessions lost. You know what I mean? Those are possessions that are not, in a lot of cases, because we play small ball and he's the big, those weren't being rebounded in some cases. So we just got to shore up our possessions as a whole, as a team. Take a little from Russell Westbrook and how he's been able to manage turning down his turnovers, even though the turnovers he gets are still not so pretty to look at and are very funny at times. At the end of the day, his turnovers are down significantly, and I think the rest of the team should try their very best to do that too, as a whole. So AD doesn't turn the ball over like that significantly, so I'm not really talking about him in that way. But all in all, we got to continue to work on that. 18 turnovers in the last game. We don't want that going forward. So, yeah, man, Los Angeles Lakers getting AD back, man. That's wonderful, bro. That's wonderful. And at the end of the day, this is our guy. We want him to be out there. We have struggled, even though LeBron James has done a tremendous job of being himself and carrying us, keeping us at 500, which is his job. You know what I mean? But he did it, and he did it well. But AD's back now, so we should be able to kind of flex a little more if he's right. So give him a couple weeks. I don't think he's going to be right tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be right, till the end of the road trip, basically, is when I expect to see AD in his best, especially since you got to get on flights, and he's a big guy. A lot of times when big guys get on flights, they can be sluggish, that kind of thing. We saw a lot with Shaq. So I'm not expecting AD to come out and be a world beater right away, but with his talent level and his skill set, he should affect things positively for us, and not allow us to rely so much on Bron playing center, Melo playing center, and us running Dwight out there and so on and so forth. So that's what's good. Now, for me personally, I hate AD at the center, and y'all know that. Hate it, loathe it, because I don't look at him as a very good rebounder for his size. But we have a mantra about running small ball lineups, and he's kind of the perfect center to run the small ball lineup, even though I don't actually believe that. Apparently, the experts do, so I'm just relying upon them as they say that. The idea about small ball for me, I know you get to space the floor. I look at the other teams most of the time, they're running small ball, so it makes sense to match up with it. But for me, when I see guys on the floor going up against shorter guys, I'm not looking to match up shorter. I want to be taller than them. I literally want to be taller than them. And whatever I'm not able to do on the floor because of that height, I don't look at it as a negative. Because when I see it, the advantage that I give myself using small ball, I look at the negatives of that. And that's where I'm saying it's like, okay, like for example, I heard someone say, okay, the Lakers were able to switch everything in the Orlando game. You know, they were able to go small, and I'm like, yeah, but they gave up a lot of boards. Now they find themselves shorter out there, so you give up more layups. It's like, yes, can you do some things offensively? Can you switch more defensively? Yes, but you want those positionless players to be taller than 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". That's why Kyle Kuzma was valuable to us, because he's that type of player. You know what I mean? He can be 6'10", 6'9". He's a good rebounder, very good rebounder at this point. And, you know, he's somebody who can kind of space the floor very well and be all over the place necessary for you to switch and do things like that. I get it. Dwight doesn't do that. Dwight doesn't provide certain, you know, flexibility in that way. But what he does provide you is offensive rebounds, more possessions. What he does provide you is somebody who's tall, who's going to be able to get defensive rebounds, keep those offensive rebounds outside of the opponent's hands. So as I look at AD, I say he gets rebounds. The stats will show you a lot of his rebounds, they're there, but they're tip rebounds. Sometimes they're tip ins, stuff like that, which is helpful as heck, but they're not the boards that ultimately erase possessions in a lot of situations for the other team. He'll miss those boards. Those are the ones, and you're getting boxed out and all that. He tends to have issues getting pushed around and stuff like that. So, you know, I think about it like this. You know, Kobe Bryant, I don't know what year it was, but it was later on in his career. He wanted to get better at being in the paint. He wanted to get better at his footwork. He wanted all that. So he worked tirelessly and effortlessly, with Akeem Olajuwon. And he was already in 10th year, 11th year in his career. Like, I think Anthony Davis needs to do that as it pertains to getting rebounding, you know, someone to help him rebound better. Ignore your stats in that regard. Get better at fundamentally boxing out. Get better at finding yourself in positions to pull down two-handed rebounds and things of that nature. He's not good at that stuff. Not as good as he would be if he grew up doing those things. You know what I mean? And even though he's great at other aspects of the game and he sees the game a certain way, all that beautiful stuff is not to be ignored. But when you have a weakness that can be shored up with some reps and with some coaching and with some fundamentals, it's incumbent upon the player, especially if he's great, to work that stuff into his equation, to keep working on his game. It's essentially what I'm saying. And I'm not saying AD ain't working on his game, but I see a huge weakness in his game as it pertains to him boxing out and rebounding and finding positioning on the boards. And there's room for improvement. And I think if he wants to get better at that, I think the knowledge is out there. You know, it's there. The reps to get better at those things are there. And I just want to see him work on his game in that way. You know, he could be a better rebounder at 30 than he is at 28. So that's the challenge I would try to give to him and the coaching staff and the Lakers as an organization as a whole. Help AD get better at rebounding, y'all. And that way, you can have more confidence playing him at the center and better results. See what I'm saying? Because that's the only reason why I don't like seeing him at the center. It certainly isn't because I don't think he can defend. Obviously not. It's because he gets pushed around by the Clint Capellas and those guys. Once he starts getting better positioning, once he starts learning how to control those aspects of his game a little better, even if those guys are stronger than him, he's longer than them. He'll get those boards. Or he'll flop off of them a certain way and get those calls. But those are the things that I think he can get better at. And I want to see him try. I really do. So, and then I will never, ever complain about him playing center again. I'll shut my mouth if he takes a whole summer and just gets better at boarding the ball and boxing people out. That's it. That's all. That's my biggest gripe. You know, Bron ain't going to be able to... You can't say that to Bron because Bron is a good rebounder. He's just a shorter guy. He's undersized for the position. AD ain't undersized for the center position. He's 6'10" with arms longer than 7'3" guys. So, he can do it. He just has to get stronger and even more so, just get those skills sharpened in that way. So, that's what I got to say, man. That's what I got to say. Welcome back, AD. You know, I'm poised for you to make me feel good about you being a Laker again. I'm poised to see you raise your value in this league, not lower it. You know what I mean? I've been screaming trade this guy. But if he can turn into the guy that he once was, he's untradeable in my mind again. So That's just what it is. AD needs to get healthy and then get better and accept his talent is great, but there's room to greater, basically. That's what I got to say, man. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching.